I like my fair share of video games, and who doesn't? From puzzle games to shooters, I basically like any and all of them. Though one genre that's caught my attention for a while is sandbox games. Games that give the player many different elements and let them make whatever the heck they want with it, like sets for skits or funny obstacle courses. These games provide the player immense amounts of creativity. One game that somewhat falls under this genre is the topic we'll be discussing today. Welcome to my podcast on the retrospective analysis of Nintendo's 2019 release, Super Mario Maker 2! Yeah, that game. Before we get started, today's sponsor is Nintendo's Salmonos. Think the future, think Salmonos. Ever felt hungry on the job? No, I'd like a little help here! Then get Salmonos, the nutritious new breakfast treat from Grisco Industries. Wow. Now with extra raisins. Never again will you have an empty stomach while fending off those pesky salmonids. Every box has a chance of coming with a new Salmonid King minifigure replica, from the Kohozuna to the newly discovered Horror Boros. Wow, thanks Grisco Industries, now I can fight with a good taste in my mouth. Think the future, think Salmonos. Grisco Industries isn't responsible for any major injuries due to our product. If one were to get sick, please consult your local doctor immediately. Released by Nintendo on June 28, 2019, Super Mario Maker 2 was the newly added sequel to the Nintendo Switch's catalog of games, being the successor to Super Mario Maker 1 on the Wii U. Super Mario Maker 2 is a sandbox 2D platformer game which allows the player to create Mario levels of their own. The Course Maker. Super Mario Maker 2 is all about making Mario levels. The way you can do all that is in the Course Maker. You can choose up to 5 game styles that are full-on recreations of previous Mario games in the Course Maker. We got Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, Super Mario Bros. U, and the newly added Super Mario 3D World, which is now in 2D to fit the rest of the styles. There are also different level themes, some of which were never in the original Mario games featured here. These level themes bring in new music for these game styles, all composed by Koji Kondo, who has worked on many songs for the classic Mario games, one of which is playing right now. Each game style comes with their own original mechanics and course parts from that game, such as Yoshi being in the Super Mario World's game style, as the lovable green dinosaur made its first debut there. When you finally finish making a level, you're able to upload it to the server and allow other players to play it and check it out. It's really cool, and there's even like a whole commenting system and liking system to see how well your level is received. If you're asking what course parts are, they're basically the elements you are given in each individual game style. They are your building blocks to creating the most fun or most infuriating levels of all time. From enemies like Goombas or Koopas, power-ups like the basic mushroom or the superstar, or blocks such as the on-off switch, which can activate or deactivate dotted line blocks. Certain course parts have alternate versions of themselves too. A great example is the note block, which, if turned into its alternate version, creates the music block. This block plays a note that's higher or lower depending on where it's placed on the level. It also plays a different sound for whatever bounces off the block. You can literally make levels that are just songs because of this. Here's one of my favorite examples. This is a recreation of the song Puzzle Plank Galaxy from Super Mario Galaxy 2 on the Wii. Speaking of sound effects, there's an entire subsection of just sound effect triggers that you could place in your level that would play whenever the player interacts with them, from sounds that are informal to ones that are just plain weird. Ugh. These sounds are mainly used to make levels much more interesting and diverse, along with just making them more fun and yeah, I think that's really it. Other features and my criticism on the game. Super Mario Maker 2 also provides a story mode, which is basically a glorified tutorial, demonstrating what you can make with what you're given in the Course Maker. Multiplayer was also introduced in this entry of the series. Up to 4 players can go against each other in versus mode, or work together to make it to the end of the level in co-op mode. There is also a creator leaderboard that shows off the most currently popular level creators, a whole tab dedicated to just discovering new levels by others, even allowing you to search them by specific tag/genre and type, a game mode called Endless Challenge, where you basically just go through random levels endlessly until you finally game over, with 4 difficulties to choose from. There's also a special game mode called Ninja Speedrun, which is all about beating a Nintendo-made level the fastest and getting the best time. Sadly, Nintendo doesn't update Ninja Speedrun anymore, but I'll explain more why later. Now, Super Mario Maker 2 isn't the most perfect game. There are many things I just don't really see why Nintendo implemented, and most of the community agree about too, like story mode exclusive course parts, such as the stone block, which is literally just the perfect physics item, but sadly isn't available in the course maker, or how playing online can be really crappy at times. Nintendo Switch Online isn't the greatest, I have to admit. For some reason, when one player happens to have a bad connection, every other player is treated the same, and until that player leaves the session, everyone will just be as slow and buffery as the laggy player. It's very infuriating, but I could see why they made it like that, so the laggy player doesn't have a disadvantage, but come on, it's just annoying. When it comes to discovering levels, the majority of the time you'll just come across hot garbage, mainly because the majority of the people who make these levels are young kids who don't really know how to make good levels. Luckily, it's not always the case, I guess. There's also another subsection called Yamamira's Dojo, which is basically a big tutorial area, teaching the player how to use the course maker. But it doesn't seem like a lot of people use that, and, you know, it's pretty obvious. But despite all that, the game is still extremely fun, and honestly a little addicting. Super Mario Maker 2 is a really great game, so surely Nintendo would try to make the most of it. Right? Where the game is today. On August 20th, 2022, Nintendo announced the last major update to Super Mario Maker 2.
Thanks for playing the Super Mario Maker 2 game. We'll be releasing the last major update soon.
Wait, already?
Now, let's go! This mushroom
what?
here is
wait. The game literally got only 2 major updates since its release, including this one, which I guess technically makes 3. But either way, the majority of the fanbase was pretty bummed out from this news, despite the update providing new features like Super Worlds. It basically allowing you to make full-on Mario games with different worlds and all. Even though Nintendo stopped providing the game with major updates, with many missed opportunities like adding a new game style, the game itself still holds up to this day. With a thrivingly dedicated community, it doesn't look like the game's going anywhere until a possible release of a 3rd entry, which doesn't seem to be the case anytime soon. Many content creators continue to make videos around Super Mario Maker 2 as well, such as popular YouTuber slash streamer Simple Flips,
Yo, what up?
who often plays the game with his friends. All in all, Super Mario Maker 2 is an enormously fun sandbox game. If you're really into the Mario series and looking for something that will get your creativity up and running, this game is for you. I hope I convinced you enough to even maybe buy the game, but that's really your choice. What isn't your choice is to go get Salmonos. Seriously, they're delicious. Until next time, this was my podcast on the retrospective analysis of Super Mario Maker 2. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye. Actually, Yahoo! Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye. Woohoo! Mario time!